Right, live stream is live. Are you still here? It shows your the counter has gone to 0. Right, well, as I've often said, and wise men have said before me, the truth is stranger than fiction, but never as popular. So we're talking truth tonight, as we always do. Welcome to Full Stack Timeline number 71. This is, what we're going to call this, Open House 2. So people can ask me anything, people who turn up. I'm going to yab away to myself until other people do turn up. A lot to cover in no particular order. I've got files in my document folder directory and quite a lot to things which one or two people have sent me. My Australian correspondent to start with. Right, this is something that appeared in the Evening Standard and other papers. But Rolf Harris, gravely ill Rolf Harris, receiving 24-hour care for neck cancer. Quotes an anonymous neighbour, alludes to him as a convicted paedophile. No. Rolf Harris was convicted of one of the allegations against him was that he had sexually assaulted a girl of 6 or 7. So that would have made him a paedophile. But that conviction was quashed with, I might add, a little help from yours truly. I referred Rolf to the excellent services of William Merritt. So, apart from all the allegations that have been made against, you're back. Could invite a few more friends, because it's rather embarrassing, just the two of us. The main conviction was the friend of his daughter. I've discussed this in great depth elsewhere, and basically he was shot down for being honest. So honesty doesn't pay at times. An interesting thing here. What's this? This is a case which. Oh yes, this is the Land and Gamble case.
Boosting sugar cravings. The study found no relation between cravings and.
Well, it's actually a 30-minute upload from Carolina Week, which has 1.02 thousand subscribers. It was uploaded February 27, 2013. It's had only 661 views, and it covers Land and Gamble. Actually, I've just added her case. Well, the case is on the Full Stack Timeline, but I wrote a couple of articles about it. But they're for Digital Journal, which have long gone, but they were archived. So I've taken them out of the archive as it were, and put them on my main website. They are called A Straight Look at the Rape of Land and Gamble, the imaginary rape. And the other one is the Land and Gamble case, and the Land and Gamble hopes and the campus rape industry, or the campus rape industry and the Land and Gamble hopes. I just added it, so I should be able to remember. But these. Yeah, it was 661 views that's had now. I don't know, shadow banned either. So I don't know. That's a lot of these women are, these students are absolutely, they're totally gone. Totally gone. Right, got a recent article here from Rape Crisis UK. This is an absolutely odious organisation. Our comment on granting suspects anonymity, and this is the usual flim flam of contrived statistics and guff like that. It's at a time when charging, prosecuting and conviction rates for rape and other sexual offences are unacceptably low. We're unsure why the Home Secretary is choosing to discuss anonymity for suspects and not the government's plan to improve the experience of survivors in the justice system. False allegations of rape are extremely rare. In fact, the vast majority of rape victims and survivors still choose not to report to the police for a range of reasons. You can't believe how rare they are. It's so incredibly rare. It's just total bunk. Oh, you're back. No, still nobody else here, but you got me all to yourself. Yeah, they're certainly, you can't believe how incredibly rare they are. All this guff here. Approaches like this will prevent survivors from coming forward, deny access to justice. The thousands of people subjected to these traumatic crimes every year. So basically, they want anonymity for accusers, but not for accused. That's the bottom line. As I've said many times before, and I say again, we live in an age in which homosexuals aspire to and hold high public office, in which celebrities, some of them very minor celebrities, very minor celebrities, go on TV and talk shows and chat shows talking about their struggles with sex addiction, with drugs and this, that and the other. There's really no need for anonymity. Yeah, they do real they do a real study with the possibility of showing false accusations. Yeah, I mean, they use such semantic gymnastics as well. The one trick they did was the few years ago, the CPS, in this country, that means the Crown Prosecution Service, not Child Protection Services. The CPS put out a document, and they quoted this, that there were thousands of prosecutions of rape and only 35 prosecutions for false allegations. And the insinuation was that only 35 women have falsely cried rape. Well, complete nonsense. I've got StreamYard here. I don't know. Add a destination. I've got that. I've got. Oh dear. I don't want to lose my. I don't want to lose my connection to you. Oh, I've got another person. Hello, whoever you are. I've got actually just StreamYard. Yes, allow. So it was connected actually. StreamYard. Here we are. Your YouTube canal is connected. We're all set. Yeah, I'm not sure. Anyone know how to send a link? Maybe you will want to contribute. Anyway, this is the flim flam of Rape Crisis UK. As I've said before, these organisations should be shut down. If they can't shut them down, they should deny them all funding, be it national funding, funding from national government, from local government, lotteries, and should deny them charitable status as well, non-profit status, because if they do any good at all, they do a great deal more harm. And their interest, what they want is men to be convicted of rape, regardless of the evidence or lack thereof. Not only that, they don't want false accusers punished. And well, it's, as I said, again. If a woman is raped, she needs the police and medical attention, not necessarily in that order, maybe simultaneously. So they are utterly outrageous. Talking of the CPS, they've just issued a public consultation. I think it was last month, about the 26th of last month. They opened a public consultation on rape. Oh, another person. Hello. The Crown Prosecution Service opened a public consultation on rape, which it's to do with this gender nonsense. Lots of questions. I simply wrote in saying that the definition of rape, this wonderful definition. Hi there. 4. I haven't had 4 for a long time. I'm not sure one of them was me. But I haven't had I'm 4 for whatever. There's a wonderful definition of rape I heard many years ago. The illicit carnal knowledge of a woman effected by false intimidation, threats, or deceit as to the nature of the act. And that covers it all. You can include men, you can include children, you can include dogs if you like, but that is the definition. That covers everything. Right, I've got various things here. Oh, this one is hilarious. If I can find the link for it. Yeah, it isn't a rape, but it shows the lunacy of these. This is from the Evening Standard. It's about Lewis. I live in Lewis. Well, I pay my rates to Bromley, but I get my rubbish collected by Lewisham. I'll put the link here if any of you want to chase it. This is absolutely hilarious. This is police issue appeal image of man. Police issue appeal image of man after Lewisham indecent exposure. A black dude, as it happens, in his 50s, flashed his Hampton at 2 women. And they reported him, as they should do, or maybe should have laughed at him, or both. The investigation is being carried out by Transport Police Command. And what it says here, what it says here, maybe a different article. Oh yeah. Both victims are being supported by police. I mean, seriously. Well, at least they didn't call them survivors. I mean, seriously. I mean, it's absolutely ludicrous. So that's the police really are pits at times. The British police. Still, you're quite unlikely to be shot by them. It isn't a total. I mean, they do shoot people occasionally, but they shot a couple of them the past couple of weeks. But unlike the American police. So I haven't added this to timeline yet. I might do. We'll do a bit more research here. Saratoga County judge tosses first-degree rape case against prison officer. Excuse me if I've just had some food. This afternoon, about 12 hours from now, I'm going to have my 4th COVID injection, a 2nd booster. Well, I don't have to, but I will do. I think for somebody in my age and health, it's better than not having it. Attorney says decision hinged on complainant's credibility. She says she thought rape kit and photos were sufficient evidence. A Saratoga County judge, I'm not sure, I think it's in Florida, is it? Saratoga. I get confused here because there's Sarasota, which is a city, and there's Saratoga as well. This was first-degree rape charge of strangulation indictment. Accused a state correction officer of attacking a woman he met on a dating app. It's Plaintiff said she thought there was enough evidence to prove the case. Evidence was collected 2 hours after she called police. She explained to the Times Union on Monday. His attorney, who joined the prosecution's motion, told Times Union information was revealed the accuser had a history of pattern of making false statements to acquire attention. That doesn't mean she was lying then, but the complainant said the allegation to which this guy referred, she referred, was a complaint she made against her ex-boyfriend. She accused him of domestic violence and not rape. So I don't know. I mean, I'll check that out. But stay away from these crazy bitches, man. Stay away from them, and don't strangle women anyway. That's the best advice I can give you. Got a message here from a correspondent. I don't know if he's here, but this is from somebody on the other side of the Atlantic. Thanks, Mr. Barry. You're the first person on YouTube to take me seriously, you know. With all that, my input, people are beginning to see their governments as oppressors. They certainly are. In the United States and Canada, of course. And got some other stuff here. If you can relate to this state of being, I appreciate it a lot, along with your vote, Sherry. I'm sorry to lost him indifferent, but opposed to working harder. Yeah, I mean, these guys had real problems. Lots of them have problems, but of course, only women's problems count. Certainly, if it's just men and women, and women's problems count. This is very interesting. This is at least one guy has discussed this online. This is the latest entry on Full Sweep Timeline. This is for September 30th. Cathy Richardson is given a 61-month sentence at Salisbury Crown Court. This is a woman who she accused 2 men of raping her 60 times. Now, when I saw that name, I thought, that sounds familiar. And believe it or not, this is her second such. I'll send you the direct link. I wouldn't normally have added a case so quickly, even with a conviction, but because to give the press time to read the story, like. But I used the Essex Police website, and the story has been republished almost verbatim. Yes, I agree with you. I'm sure, Justice. I'm sure that Johnny Depp will be will second that. What you say about looking at women as offence on the tube? Actually, one of the first cases when they brought this ludicrous harassment law, anti-harassment law, one of the first cases to be tried was a bloke who was meant to have looked at a woman 3 times on a train. 2 mornings, or 2 or 3 mornings in a row, something like that. It was absolutely ridiculous. They dragged him into court, and he was actually worked as a magistrate's clerk or so. He was acquitted, but it was absolutely absurd. I mean, like, this woman claimed he was staring at her. Well, wasn't she staring at him? I mean, not even as if he was making obscene gestures. This is insane, utterly insane. And well, I mean, what can I say? The British police are total arseholes. I say that from personal experience as well. I won't go into more detail here. Yeah, this woman Richardson. I contacted the police press office, and the guy I spoke to. The case was D.I. Holmes on the case. I think his name was John or something. It wasn't Sherlock. Thanks for you. I think it helps. Our release on this issue is here. He sends me the link to an article I've already read. So I found it on Essex Live. I went to the Essex Police website, and it's almost the same way. It's just been slightly rewritten for Essex Live. We wouldn't be saying anything else over and above D.I. Holmes' comments in that story. As guidance, we are and were aware of the previous false allegations. So that's, if you check that out, it's right at the bottom of the timeline at the moment. Her first conviction was August 8th, 2013, when she was given a 12-month sentence at Basildon Crown Court for false allegations in November 2012 and February 2013. That led to arrest of a innocent man. Her latest conviction was at Salisbury Crown Court, which is a long way from Westcliff-on-Sea. So I don't know. She's supposed to be moving about a bit. Of course, now she'll be probably actually pretty Bronzeville, really. Yeah, yeah, I agree with you, Justice. Well, I mean, I've got worse nightmares than that. I mean, I'm 66 now, and I don't expect to be around much longer. Certainly don't expect to live as long as the Queen. That was really tragic, that. I really expected to outlive her mother. And there's all sorts of stuff here. Yeah, the Essex Live thing. Got here Bristol Post. 3 years ago, thank God. Yeah, as a go, like, how do you know I haven't? I won't go into details here, but if you look at the timeline for July 26, 2006, the mother of that poor girl had me arrested 3 times, not for anything sexual. She played me like a banjo. She played Surrey Police like a banjo as well. If you follow the links, you'll understand. Batshit crazy, totally batshit crazy. That's more or less what got me involved, starting the timeline actually. That and my interest as a for a true crime buff from a very early age. This is a story from Bristol Live. All these websites, even though I don't just get the benefit of the doubt. Sometimes I get the cases on the timeline of there's a woman who murdered her husband who was a police officer. That's I think January 1999. that was in Argyll, Scotland. Look that up. And of course the Sally Challen case and Emma Humphreys. Just absolutely outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. This case is businessman's nightmare ordeal after former pimp falsely accused him of being a paedophile. Paul Ponting said the torrent of abuse had left him suffering with his mental health and suicidal. An innocent man spoke out about his years-long nightmare ordeal after trolls falsely accused. Yeah, this is what these idiots who. Sorry, that's the website play. This is what these idiots who support Me Too, hashtag Me Too and this other stuff. They assume these allegations. It's this whole business about no smoke without fire. Well, whenever you hear that expression, the first question you should ask is, who is creating all this smoke? If you check out my video, The Prior Bad Acts of Glory Are All Red, you'll realise that in the case of Bill Cosby, it was one woman, basically, who used him as a vehicle to remove statutes of limitations in sex cases in the United States. Oh, yes, regrets, it does. The cases, the best one is on the timeline. It's about 1995. It's about a girl called, I think it's Caroline McKinley or something. It was in Scotland. She was the first teenager in Scotland to be given the first teenager in Scotland to be given that the sort of sentence she did get. That was she falsely accused some dude of rape, and in court she said, "I was happy. I was happy with the sex at the time, but afterwards, I wish it hadn't happened." Absolutely ridiculous. It sounded batshit crazy. But as I say, what happens is somebody can take a dislike to you. For it doesn't have to be a woman. It can be a man, and yeah, unreal. And this person can make your life hell. And there's lots of cases like on the timeline. There's a case, Sheena Bowl, not to be confused with an Indian musician of the same name. She was a teacher. She framed another teacher for. She framed Childline, came to be a teenage girl who was being sexually abused by him. There was a case in I think about the Midlands where a doctor, Desmond O'Callaghan, if I recall it properly, him and his mistress, that they started a campaign against a local vicar, a clergyman, and they're printing leaflets accusing him of all sorts of things. He was struck off naturally, obviously. I mean, it's absolute. And people hear these things and they think there must be some truth in them. And people's lives are trashed, absolutely trashed. Another one here. This is from Bolton News. Don't know if I just add this to the timeline yet. This is Bolton woman made false report to police and wasted police time and wasted time. Hannah Harrison. I haven't looked this up yet. It may. There's not much detail there, so I'm not sure if it's a false allegation of rape or something. I shouldn't be so tired actually because I got my head down this afternoon. That mad woman, E. Jean Carroll, is back in the news. This, if you recall this case, she's that mad woman who accused Donald Trump of raping her back in the 1990s, and he laughed at her, and she's suing him for defamation. This was a trick that Gloria Allred started. There's a very easy refutation of that case. This is a video I made. Somebody, the circumstances of this phantom rape, I wonder to behold. I'll just dig this out. This is on BitChute. Yeah, right at the top. Check this out. I'll save it for later. Have a laugh. This is, and of course, when she was interviewed by Anderson Cooper, I mean, I think the penny dropped for Cooper, but she's still pursuing this nonsense. And there'll be people who believe this crap as well. There's one here from India. India, which has unique problems with false rape allegations. This is slightly out of the unusual. 6 shops belonging to Muslims burnt in Agastya Muni, Uttarakhand. Agastya Muni, Uttarakhand. Members of right-wing groups, including those allegedly belonging to ABFVP, targeted a shop belonging to Muslims after false rumours spread that a Muslim youth had raped a minor girl. So I don't know how much that is down to it appears to be some sort of ethnic thing. Be a lot of aggravation between Muslims and Hindus, including in the UK recently, which is rather amusing if, like me, you can't tell them apart. Let's have one or two things here from what's this? Nightmare. This is Nightmare lives on for accuser of rape, but I'll dig that out. That's an old one, it's a very old one. Oh, Charlotte, this is a great one. My Australian correspondent, who follows not just Australian news but international news in the United States, the woman who accused, the Cuomo scandal in New York. Basically, they wanted to get rid of it. It caused all these premature deaths in nursing homes, and they wanted to get rid of him. They didn't want to admit culpability for that, so they framed him for sexual harassment. And one of his main accuser was a young woman named Charlotte Bennett, who was a total airhead, and she claimed to have been raped while she was at college. I've already got an entry in the timeline for Cuomo, but I'll expand it and add one for her. Basically, at Hamilton College, which is a liberal arts college in New York, some dude was accused of rape. This is a drinker game, and she recruited other women, and a man to falsely accuse him to back up the story. And Bennett was one of those, and she withdrew the allegation. So I mean, I don't know if she had sex with him or something, but she's a complete airhead. And hi, oh yes, I remember you. Yeah, I mean, I'm no friend of what's that? Chromosexual. Yeah, chromosexual. Him and his brother. I'm no friend of it, but it was absolutely outrageous. Not a lot of point in my mentioning it, but if I think StreamYard is working. I don't. If any of you want a StreamYard link, let me know. But maybe we can do it again. But if any of you want to show your appreciation, that's my PayPal. Has it got up? Yeah, it's that man again at yahoo.com. But this is really, I mean, if I were doing this for the money, I'd have given up years ago. As in fact, as some of you may know, I had two sponsors. I've got one now because my first sponsor, guy who sponsored me since long before I started this, Paul Todd, he died earlier this year at the age of 62. Terrible loss. Let's have another look at this. Yeah, I've got a lot here on Charlotte Bennett. It's really too much to go into detail here, but I will write it up. But she's a total head case. I've got here. What's this? Kansas. What's this? Kansas. This is. No, what this is. Oh, this is a. Taking a while to load. Oh, two more false reporting cases. Yeah, I'll come back. I'll come back to that. We've got some other stuff here. Rape support. This is another whine. Not so much on behalf of rape crisis, but the same sort of people. This is from the BBC website. Rape support needs drastic improvement. This is July 2019, so I found this recently. Poor access to counselling support is one of the reasons most of those who report rape later withdraw their allegations. Counselling. Counselling for what? I mean, look, I've said this before. Counselling and therapy are basically they're surrogate friendship. Now, if people, if somebody has suffered a serious accident, maybe lost a limb or something, or an eye, or been ill for a long time, and or with psychological issues, that person undergoes what they call rehabilitation. It could be, I mean, if you lose a hand, for example, you have to learn how to cope in a world without with just one hand. If you go blind, well, I mean, that's an entirely new ball game. If a woman has been raped, it's like with any other serious assault or injury. She needs maybe a bit of space, a bit of rehabilitation, and move on with her life. Now, all this counselling BS. Today, Waxman said delays were another huge factor. Of the 501 people who told police had been raped in London in April 2016, 501 in London, 58% later withdrew allegations. Why do you think that was? Because they sobered up? Only 6% of the 501 cases went to trial, just 3% resulted in conviction. Well, why was that? Just assume that these women were raped. Deeply entrenched myths. The study found the average length of time from the date reported to the trial outcome was 18 months. Well, yeah, that isn't good for a genuine victim, but it isn't good for an accused either, is it? He's had his life turned upside down. He might have lost his job. Might have restrictions placed on him. Some of these cases, if a bloke has kids, he has to move out of his house. Ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous stuff. If victims are accessing counselling and it's taking months on end, then you're forcing people to stay in trauma. And how does counselling relieve trauma? It's garbage. Absolute garbage. Chris's story. I had to prove I'm not lying. When you have your survivor hat on, you feel like no one is listening to me. No one is taking notice. Why is it taking this long? Chris Tuck, 49 from South London, approached the police in 1979 and 1988 to report she'd been abused at the age of 9 and again at the age of 15. but she says no further action was taken. In 2016, she again reported the abuse she received as a 15-year-old. Well, I mean, seriously? During the investigation, Ms. Tuck was asked to hand over mobile phones for 3 to 6 months to know her social media records will be checked. I have no contact with my perpetrator and for years and years. I mean, it's absolutely the toll of my mental health, the toll of my mental and physical health was immense at the time. Or I should imagine it was your mental health that got you in that place. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. These women, absolutely ridiculous. Like how much credibility are we supposed to give that? It's just ludicrous. The case here, Martin. Who's Martin? Sex. Oh, this is Buffalo News. I'm not sure. I don't. No, I don't. I haven't added this to the timeline. I might not. I totally have. John C. Martin, who faced a possible sentence of life in prison as an alleged sexual predator, was freed from Niagara County Jail last week after his accuser was unmasked as a liar. Martin, this is from 2012, updated 2020. I found it recently. Martin was sentenced to time served, more than 8 months. It's been accused of raping a woman of his own. The woman consistently denied that she knew Martin well before that night, saying she had any minor relationship with him. It was a drug deal. It was text messages and voicemails left on my telephone showing the woman's statement was false. Yeah, this is in the United States, these where by and large prostitution is illegal. They sent me on my way. I did a Sussex shoplifter. Went to can you send me the details about that? I mean, not for yeah. Can you send me the details? I might, if you give me dates, I might include it anonymously on the timeline. If you got some documentation, I can scan it and redact it. Redact it. I've had some people have. If you look at the timeline, you'll find some people sent me documentation. Jack Reboledo, that guy in Minnesota, was falsely accused. Alexander Economou, who set up his own blog over that little Tartar accused him and then committed suicide. One or two, well, a few others actually. I contact with police officers and lawyers as well. Yeah, that's. I mean, in the United States, as I didn't tell you if you live there. Oh, right. What did you take a lawyer with you? I would be inclined to tell them not to. Actually, there's a very good case on the timeline. It's oh god, what's the guy's name? He runs it's absolutely ludicrous allegation. Some of his accused friends. He met this woman in a pub. It was a business thing, and she went to the police weeks later and accused him of touching her neck and kissing her on the cheek. Absolutely, yeah, good thing to do. Just absolutely ludicrous, these people. You know, I mean, at one time, if a bloke did indecently assault a woman, I mean, there was this thing. It was the bottom pinching. That was it. That was the. I suppose they call it a trope now. If a guy did pinch a woman's backside or grope or something, she'd turn around and slap his face. That'd be the end of it, and he wouldn't do it again. Nowadays, the poor sap was going up on a sex offenders registry for 5 years, and she'll be in therapy for another 10. It's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I can't remember his name. It's a bloke lives in London. It's David something that's accused friends. But it's on the timeline and it's absolutely absurd. They charged him with common assault and sexual touching, and it's just absolutely pathetically, you know. The police, I blame the police as much as these pathetic women, but they do it because they know they're going to get results. They're going to make some poor bloke's life a misery. This is rather interesting. These are the statistics I've been getting for the hits I've been getting on the Full Stroke Timeline on the homepage. It's been doing better than my main website actually for the most part lately. Yeah, women use the law as a weapon. Quite right. Yeah. There's a very good quote from. Have a look at the timeline from 1919. From the medical journal, the Journal of Urology. I'll send you the direct link. It's and Jordan Peterson has done there's an interview with Jordan Peterson on the timeline as well. This is the direct link with the citation. This is the direct link with the citation. Yeah, it's sex is woman's strongest weapon. She uses it as a weapon of defense and offense. She uses it to attract and to repel, to reward and to punish. When intent upon punishment, she is utterly without scruples, and there is no vileness, no falsehood at which she will draw the line. That is as true today as it ever was. It was said in slightly earlier different words earlier in a novel, but there was no wickedness like the wickedness of a woman. On the subject of female wickedness, there's a case. A woman's just been convicted. I forget her name. a fetal abduction case. She's sentencing starts next week. She's been convicted of, she killed the mother and the baby. Fetal abduction in Texas. I mean, it's insane. But while I was researching the background for that, I found 2 cases in which women that actually survived fetal abductions. Once she and the baby survived, but if you've got a strong stomach, there's an incredible woman. They do that. They do that if you're arrested for anything. It's just bullshit, you know. It's they do that. It's to cover their own backs, of course, because you know. I mean, if you're arrested, you put the police on, they take your belt off you. Isn't because they're worried you might commit suicide. It's because if you do, they get the blame for it. So they do it to cover their own back. Well, actually, there was I think about 2011. I don't know if there was a bloke named Smiley Culture. He was a singer-songwriter. He had a minor hit. It was a police officer. There was another one. I forget what it's called. He was it wasn't rap or reggae. It was a comedy sort of songwriter, and he was maybe a 2-hit wonder. About 2011, he was involved in cocaine dealing. The police raided his home. He went in the kitchen, stabbed himself through the heart, and of course, it was all because he was black. It was racism. So they like to cover themselves. You know, they're not really bothered about you. But where was I? Where was I? Yeah. What was that? I don't know what it was. Yeah. The timeline. 1st of September, I had visitors from Comcast, Bologna, Southampton, and a very interesting one here from, where is it? It's Reserve Bank of New Zealand. Milan. I've had a few from China, not recently, I don't think. Omaha, Glasgow, Windsor. I think it's Windsor, Canada. Tucson. Yeah, got quite a lot of. I think it's probably the same bloke from Windsor actually. Visit me on different days. Tell us Vancouver. I think it's Vancouver, Canada, isn't it? Not Vancouver, United States. Mayor Brown LLP. I have to look that up. So there's quite some quite interesting visitors there. You know it gets around. I had a couple of guys contact me about publications. One about the practical aspects of rape investigation, although we directed them to a copy into the archive. And another bloke contacted me, wanted information about if I had access to a police surgeon article. So we'll sort that out next week, hopefully. Idaho. Oh, this is this is a word of if you're, let me find a place on the timeline. If you use Newsbank rather than other databases, or if you don't, this can happen. It can be some Idaho, some confusion over sometimes the dates and things are wrong. This is 2009, isn't it? Where is it? It's anyway. Yeah, it's this is in the Newsbank database. If you use Newsbank, it's you have you can. This is This is a subscription database. You can subscribe to it, but there's also a free online. You can. I'll show you the link. This is. It's quite a long link actually, but it doesn't have to be this long. Let's just. Probably because of my location, but you only need sort of the first up to the .com of this. You can do limited searches now. You can search the first 5 pages. I found this report some time ago, quite some time ago. August the 15th, 2009, woman makes false report at Idaho College. And it gives a citation NBC 7 KTVB, which is I think probably a TV station. And I couldn't find it's in the index. I couldn't find it in the actual archive in the actual database. In the end, I did find it. It's entirely different. So what is say entirely different. It's an earlier date from a newspaper. I've got it I've added it to the timeline. But you have to be careful with reports. So I mean, I found like there'll be one report and then another report later, and it'll be the same thing. I've also found 2 reports which I thought would be the same incident, and entirely different. And the one I think it was Bolton or Blackburn, somewhere up north, of women getting drunk and then claiming they've been raped late at night. Anybody else want to ask me any questions? We've got quite a turn. We've got a turn it anyway. Anybody else want to ask me any questions? Yeah, quite a lot of things here. Johnny Depp case. Oh, very interesting. This Depp has been not Depp, Amber Heard. There's a new adjective. Ambered. This is Craig Fleming of Anti-Feminism Australia. Ambered, meaning to be lied about in court regarding domestic violence, such the false accuser to gain benefit from the proceeding. Example: I was ambered by my husband for 50-50 custody of the kids. It's got a picture of Amber Heard here. I might add that to my main website actually. There's two photos of Heard and one of Johnny Depp. Yeah, that case was really. I mean, it's only because she overrated pudding so much, and there's. I mean, recording your own lies is not a very good idea. NFA letter, if they just leave you hanging. I don't know. Many years ago, over 40, I think. Well, so no, about 40 years ago, when I was living in Leeds, I was accused. The police turned up at my house. They accused me of stealing a checkbook, and in those days, I mean, bank cards were a rarity. Some guy walked into an apartment store, paid £28 for a camera. I think it was a camera, which is more than £28 now. And he only had a check card, and they thought it was me because it was a check that was stolen from a bloke with the same address. And they were adamant it was me. So I went to the police station. They said, "Well, we'd like to put you in a lineup." So I said, I spoke to the solicitor. He said, "Well, you can have a lineup. I don't think they do lineups anymore. They do photo IDs. You can have a lineup in the police station, we can have a street ID. I say, which would you suggest? He said, well, you're more likely to be picked out in a street ID. So I said, right, I'll have a street ID because it wasn't, wasn't me. So I did a walk through Leeds City Centre, and there's a bloke standing there. He was a shop assistant, obviously. I made sure he got a good look at me. I stopped to look at a pair of shoes in the window, and he never said anything. I walked on by, and sometime later I got a letter from police saying there was no. I don't think he said. Didn't say no further action. But he said I think it was on bail at the time. You were released from this. So I mean, I presume if you look around, you probably find letters on the web. This really kicked off because of the people who were fitted up by Operation U Tree. Of course, Jimmy Savile was fitted up, and if you don't believe that, check out my video on him, a BitChute. But they went after Rolf Harris and other people. Paul Gambaccini, it was Paul Gambaccini, Cliff Richard, one or two others, and it was outrageous. With Gambaccini, they did what he called the flypaper strategy. I think it was flypaper strategy. Put it out there and see if it would attract flies, basically. And because he's homosexual, he was accused of touching up some kid or something. And they tried to get a second accuser to back up the first. But he said they weren't just in the wrong year, they were in the wrong decade, because he wasn't homosexual in his life, and at that time he had a girlfriend. And it was absolutely outrageous why they treat these people. David Lee Chavis, of course, was the worst. I mean, and Rolf and Max Clifford, who died in prison protesting his innocence. And they brought further charges against him while he was in there. And they tried to keep Rolf in prison, bringing these demented females to make allegations. And people think because these allegations have been made, and there's lots of them, that they're credible. Oh, you're from Leeds, yeah. Crossgates. Oh no, I used to live near Hyde Park. I lived in Chester Avenue, 30 Chester Avenue. Actually, there was a bloke named, his name was Matthew Coe. He was a musician. He used to perform under the name Zero Slingsby, Zero with an X. He lived in the same house a bit. He dropped dead many years ago. I just found out a few months ago. I lived in Chester Avenue, which is, I like Leeds. I used to work at Holbeck, but that's a lifetime ago. I don't want to say too much, but the first years of my life, the first third of my life, I did screw things up badly, and I do have a great deal of sympathy with. Yes, lots of students. There were students in my house actually. There was the two Irish students I remember. There was the Catholic bloke named Paul, who was very level-headed. There was Tom, who was a Protestant. He was doing insane things. There was lots of students there. Well, the university is like big, it's not like London, Leeds. I mean, it's a big area, but the centre of Leeds, you can walk around it in an hour. Well, can't do that with central London. Millgarth. I think they took me to Millgarth when I was arrested. But it's just, nowadays there's so much fraud. They don't bother to investigate. But if some idiot, some woman, recently a woman says something to offend some trans idiot or some troll on the internet, on Twitter, they get arrested. You saw that woman was arrested. I think it was last week, late last month. Absolutely ridiculous. There's all sorts of stuff here. Fiji, there's There's a lot of things from Fiji for some reason. It's got some small populations. Fiji. It was a lot of rapes there. Quite a few false ones as well. This is Fiji village. This is 6 cases of serious sex offences withdrawn in May due to inconsistent evidence, false complaints, and inability to locate victims. That's from this year, June, 1st of June this year. So I'll be adding that. I don't know add it to the timeline yet. I'll be adding that to the timeline. Yeah, I'm going to be doing. I've got well, I've got a lot of things I want to do, but not a lot of time to do it in. But I've got to be. I want to be doing another video about the democratic dictatorship in the United States. I also want to do a video on this trans madness. It really, it's gone totally insane. But I'll be adding to the Full Scope timeline. I'm going to add some more next week. Monday it'll be in the library, and then I've got a union meeting at night. Tuesday and Wednesday. I want to add some more cases to the timeline. I've got literally thousands to go through. A lot of duplicate entries and stuff. I have to. I like to sort them, because you have. I don't put in any case just because there's a not guilty verdict or because there's an allegation withdrawn. Some of these blokes bring it on themselves, the things they do to women. Let's have a look at what we got here. There's Idaho. Got Arica. What's Arica for some reason? What's that? Oh yeah, this is a woman who claimed to have been raped in the victim who became the accused. After a black female police officer reported that a white male colleague had taken advantage of her sexually, she found herself on trial. Is the race issue really relevant here? It's from the New Yorker. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, of course, nowadays it's certainly it's dangerous for a police officer even to make a joke with a female colleague. There was a couple got sacked the other week. One for pinching her backside, another one for rubbing up against her, something like ludicrous stuff while they're out drinking. As I say, one time a bloke did that, a woman would slap his face, and that would be the end of it. But nowadays it's absolutely ludicrous. It really sort of how can I put it? It demeans real victims. So got quite a lot of other things here. French police officers. Yeah, these are some guys who I think were asking for it. This is. I probably won't be adding this to the timeline. French police officers cleared on appeal of raping Canadian tourist. Yeah, I remember this. A drawn-out case involving. They were sentenced to 7 years in prison, but they admitted to bringing Emily Spanton to the office following a night of drinking. They insisted sex was consensual. I mean, I've never understood why 3 men would want to have sex with the same woman. You know, not on the same night. You know, even consensual sex. It's just. I've always liked a bit of romance with my sex, but this is. So I won't be adding them to timeline. Right, anybody got anything else to say? Or can we close out now? Right, I think that's okay. We're just over an hour. This is the longest hangout I've had for a while, and the first live one I've had for quite a while. So thank you for coming. Any of you want to email me? If you find any cases, especially case if any of you speak other languages, languages are not my forte. I found a recent case where I did from from the Czech Republic recently, but I could do some cases from Russia, China, I think even Portugal. I don't know if from Chile. So any cases you find, especially in foreign languages, I'll add them to the timeline. So if nobody's got anything else to comment, I will wish you all good night and end the stream.